So you want to make a timeline that gives MatPat an aneurysm, huh? Then you've come to the right place. My name is SweetsIsOnline, better known as someone with too much time on his hands. Timelines, something that's important for anything that has events that happen in unorder. It just so happens that sometimes that order is unbelievably fucked. Gaming is a genre that's no stranger to cryptic stories and stupidly elaborate timelines. So I've made it my goal to catalog what I believe are the 7 key ways that a video game timeline can find itself vastly overcomplicated. And not only that, but teach you all of the ways that you can make a timeline so terrible that it'll bring MatPat out of retirement. Don't go, Matt. Don't go. You can't leave me now. Since I first watched top 8 worst Zelda items, you've been here and now you're leaving? No. No, I will make you come back. You're done when I say you're done, boob boy. So welcome to how to overcomplicate a video game timeline that'll hopefully bring MatPat out of retirement. The first thing I want to bring up is more of a prerequisite than it is an option for you. It's commonly, but not always, the sparking incident that leads to a timeline becoming overcomplicated. What could it be, you might be asking? Is it world building, where you develop a rich and well thought out history for your game? Is it time travel, where characters go back or forward in time and fuck it all up? Exercise goal achieved. Yes. No. There is a step that is way more important than any of that when it comes to creating something with a god-awful timeline, and that is
make something way more successful than you initially planned on it being.
Most of the time, when things are completely and meticulously planned out from the beginning, it doesn't fly off the rails in batshit ways like we want it to. However, if you make something that's accidentally very successful, everyone is now forced to wildly run in circles and try to rake in as much money as possible. How the hell do you think we got 15 seasons of Supernatural? A side character from season 4 is brought back 7 years later and revealed to be literal god, and then becomes the main antagonist of the series 4 years after that. You don't get this kind of progression from something that's well thought out. Now, I'm not saying that every runaway success has an awful timeline. However, it's not uncommon for runaway successes to have awful timelines. A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle isn't a square. One of the reasons that this often leads to overcomplicated timelines is because it very easily leads into option 2.
Wildly make spin-offs and sequels and then try to keep up.
You don't need to think about a timeline right now. You need product. You need to push out as many things as possible. Oh, hello, Legend of Zelda. What's that? Your timeline is total flaming garbage? Well, let's take a look. I'm a Blue's Clues character. So we start at Skyward Sword. That makes total sense. This was clearly meant to be a prequel. It's supposed to be at the beginning of everything. Then we've got Minish Cap and then Four Swords, which I would like to mention takes place 4 eras before Four Swords Adventures. After that, there's a civil war over something. States' rights. And then we get to the big boy, Ocarina of Time, at which point the timeline splits off into 3 different timelines. One that branches off of Link being an adult, one that branches off of Link being a child, and one where Link just fucking whiffs it. Nope, he got humped by one too many redeads, and that was it. The fated hero fucked it all up. And each of these timelines make varying levels of sense. Adult timeline, the world floods, we get Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. Perfect. That makes total sense, I wouldn't change it. Fisher-Price timeline, we got Majora's Mask, good. We got Twilight Princess, good. And it's all capped off by Four Swords Adventures, what the fuck. Then there's the Hump to Death timeline, which is the nursing home for ye old Zelda titles. Link to the Past, Ganon is resurrected. Oracle Games, Ganon is resurrected. Link's Awakening, there's a really cool walrus. OG Legend of Zelda, Ganon is resurrected. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, Ganon is not resurrected. And then they aren't on here, but Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are both in all of the timelines. Flaming garbage! This is perfect. Shigeru Miyamoto did exactly what he needed to overcomplicate this timeline. And that is not give a flying fuck. They didn't even try to worry about releasing a timeline until 2011. The first game came out in 1986. Link's Awakening and the Oracle games just like switched places in 2018. And it comes packed with a bunch of random stuff that happens off screen to kind of patch it together and make it make sense. It's beautiful. I would also like to let it be known that for this section, I was originally going to try and cover Kingdom Hearts. When I started researching the timeline, I found that it starts with something called Kingdom Hearts X Back Cover, which is a movie found on Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, and it's also a companion/substitute to Kingdom Hearts X, which was a free-to-play browser game. And upon reading all of that, my soul left my body. So no Kingdom Hearts. However, sometimes your timeline doesn't actually need to be completely terrible. It still helps if it's somewhat bad. However, you can let option 3 do most of the heavy lifting, which is
be way over cryptic with your storytelling.
A sure way to make sure that your timeline seems incredibly cryptic and complicated is to make sure that no one knows what the hell is going on. Let's talk Dark Souls. For this section, I'm gonna get a bit more into game lore, because if I did this like I did the last timeline, it would be 4 seconds long. It goes Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3. Thank you. And that just doesn't do it justice, so spoiler warning for a lot of Dark Souls, but 90% of you are just gonna get it from VaatiVidya anyways. So let's pull up the official Dark Souls timeline and work off that. There is no official Dark Souls timeline. Yes, FromSoft has never released an official timeline to explain in what order things happen in the Dark Souls series. This is a good start. In the beginning, there was nothing. That's not true, there are trees and dragons. This is the secret that liberals are hiding from you. And then fire happens, and this starts time, and that makes souls, and among those are Lord Souls. A couple of dudes get those and get superpowers. We've got a literal rotting corpse named Joe Biden. Fun fact, if you enter his boss fight with a bike or a set of stairs, he cannot handle it. We've got the Witch of Izalith, who gets fire powers. We've got Gwyn, who becomes the Lord of Sunlight, something Louis XIV. We don't have time. And we've got the Furtive Pygmy, who gets the Dark Soul roll credits and uses it to make humans. Woohoo! So those guys do January 6th on the dragons. I can't say that. And also this bald motherfucker helps them. Yay, Age of Fire, everyone's happy. Except the fire starts dying and everyone freaks their shit. The Witch of Izalith tries to recreate the first flame and accidentally creates basically hell. This is the future that liberals want. And then Gwyn uses his own soul to rekindle the OG flame, which kind of sucks for humans because they've all got a dark soul, and so they would do better if the fire just stopped. But it didn't, and now humans have dark signs and are undead and hollow and everything sucks. But now the world is like always ending, so people have to keep relinking the flame in order to keep the Age of Fire trudging on. Then we go to the Undead Asylum and a dude drops a key into your cell, and I guess there's a prophecy and he dies. You kill a demon, get yoinked by a bird, now you have to like ring some bells and shit. Also, you need to collect all of the Lord Souls and either rekindle the fire yourself or go have a fun time with some Chaos Snakes. Then we get to Dark Souls 2 where they make Drain Lake, and there's a war with the giants, and I'll be honest, this really doesn't matter much for our purposes. Then we get to Dark Souls 3 and it turns out everyone's been linking the flame, including, but not limited to, the KKK, Andre the Giant, Mr. Mucus from the Mucinex commercials, and just a little guy. But now it was time for the Schnookums brothers to link the flame, and they said no, so they resurrected the other guys that I mentioned, and they said no. So finally they resurrected the Unkindled, who had tried to relink the flame in the past but failed like the useless pieces of shit they are. Hey look, that's you! So then you go through and you kill a bunch of people and you relink the flame, or you don't, your choice. And that's the end of Dark Souls. Now that's actually pretty straightforward. After I cut out an entire game, several instances of time travel, however the fuck the multiplayer system works, basically every character and every level of nuance in this world. However, the games seem much less straightforward than they actually are because literally every piece of info is not at all easy to find. Who is this guy? What is he doing here? What's up with the big dude with the sword in his chest? Why do spider have boobs? And the answer to all of these questions is figure it out, pussy. NPC dialogue, item descriptions, environment details. You really gotta look at those boobs to figure them out. All of it perfectly serves to make everything seem much more complicated than it is. Now at this point you might be tempted to just remove the sense of a timeline altogether and hope that a certain someone looks a bit too far into it. Don't do this. Sure, this will probably work on a small scale. Make enough weird shit and someone will eventually start trying to tie them together even if there's nothing there. But that is not the goal. We are not going fishing on a Saturday with the boys. We are trying to catch a whale. At the very least, you have to continuously imply a timeline, otherwise it will lose its sense of mystery. Remember, we aren't trying to make something that's a little tough to figure out. We are trying to make something that's truly atrocious and life-ruining. Going back to the Dark Souls timeline, it has a major problem that makes it too concise. You can actually tell who you're talking about. All, or at least most of these characters are incredibly easy to tell apart from each other, which leads us to option 4.
Add way too many characters. Bonus points for clones and things like that.
One of the easiest ways to overcomplicate a timeline is to make sure that no one knows who the hell they're talking about without immense effort. Several series do this very well, however, I would like to use the Metal Gear series as an example. But instead of poorly going through the entire Metal Gear timeline, I'm only going to talk about some of the characters who are named after animals. Let's start with Big Boss, aka Naked Snake. Not to be confused with Liquid Snake or Venom Snake or Solid Snake, who also shouldn't be confused with Solidus Snake. Liquid Snake and Solid Snake are both imperfect clones of Naked Snake, whereas Solidus Snake is a perfect clone of Naked Snake and was also the President of the United States. And Venom Snake is just a random dude who they made look like Naked Snake. Tight, that's the snakes. We just got a couple more animals to go through. Gray Fox, who's also the original Ninja Cyborg, who's also known as Deep Throat, which means he was also in X-Files and took down Richard Nixon. Then there's a group known as the Sons of Big Boss, even though only one son of Big Boss is in fact in it, that being Liquid Snake. Also in that group is Revolver Ocelot, who uses a Colt single-action army revolver and later ends up becoming a mental clone of Liquid Snake, who they call Liquid Ocelot. Then there's Psycho Mantis, who knows you like Castlevania and you beat with the power of port priority. Then there's Vulcan Raven and Decoy Octopus. And finally Sniper Wolf, who specializes in Jax Films-based reconnaissance. I love low-hanging fruit. And of course none of those names should be confused with the members of the Beauty and the Beast unit. Under the control of Liquid Ocelot, we have Laughing Octopus, Raging Raven, Crying Wolf, and Screaming Mantis, who's also kind of Psycho Mantis because of weird mind stuff. All of whom, except for Liquid Ocelot, are kind of being controlled by the spirit of Psycho Mantis.
Psycho Mantis.
Again, This is just me listing characters, specifically ones with animals in their names. This is ridiculous. This is insane. Who would do... Oh.
Option 5, have an absolute psychopath as the creative head.
Some are born crazy, some achieve craziness, and others have craziness thrust upon them. Sometimes no amount of poor planning, money-hungry executives, or intentional vagueness can beat the power of sheer batshit insanity. And so option 5 actually has another name that it goes by, and that is simply
Be Hideo Kojima.
You'll know you've reached this when you make the greatest horror game ever created, and it gets deleted from history, and you start retweeting pictures of Hunter Schafer. And now I feel like I've written myself to a natural endpoint of this video. By stating that the power of human creativity and ingenuity will always be the most powerful resource, I've created a sort of bookend where it feels like the story should be concluded. Which leads me perfectly into option 6.
Change shit up randomly because you wrote yourself into a corner or got bored.
We all know what I'm talking about. The, oh fuck, the series is going to end and people are going to be mad and I'm going to stop getting money if I don't do something about this now moments that things sometimes get. It's the David Tennant's Doctor Who comes back and bi-generates moments. Fuck all of that. It's really dumb. I'm not going to go on a Doctor Who rant in the middle of this video, but fuck is that dumb. Anyways, back to video games. Mortal Kombat goes fucking wild when it comes to changing shit up just because. Like when they kill, like, everyone and reset the entire timeline because they can. Or when they do that a second time. Or when they make everyone evil, so they bring characters out of the past so that they can fight. It's fucking wild. Not gonna lie, I don't have time to talk about all of Mortal Kombat. This was supposed to be a short filler video that I could make quickly, and instead I spent way too much time learning all about Dark Souls and Metal Gear. Go watch this video, it'll straighten everything out for you. I straight up stole his timeline anyways. But what you should be able to tell from looking at this is that it does a very good job of recognizing when the series is coming to an endpoint, and then pumping it with enough time travel penicillin to make a World War II vet happy. This is key for maximum chaos. If your series is heading towards any kind of ending, do not let it end satisfyingly. Even if you write the perfect ending, keep making things and dragging the corpse along. We do not stop until we run out of money or the network cancels us, whichever happens first. We are striving for the Cartoon Network 2017 Christmas schedule. Total domination. Sorry, that was a lot. Anyways, what's next? Oh, shit.
Option 7. Do fucking all of it.
Five Nights at Freddy's is... That was the end of the sentence. Okay. I am now going to do my best to speedrun the Fnaf timeline. Please be lenient, and please be nice to me. And go. We're cutting all the weird childhood shit. Fredbear's Family Diner. It was founded by two dudes named Henry Emily and William Afton. Those two fuck around, they got a golden bear and a golden bunny that can both be either robots or worn like suits. This is because they have things called spring locks. The first Freddy Fazbear's open. Bill Afton over here fucking kills Henry's daughter because he could. I do not think Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, would call this sound business practice. Then he does a bunch of murders, dressed in the gold bunny suit from Fredbear's, and the first Freddy Fazbear's closes. Grand opening, grand closing. Then Billiam Afton's son gets his stupid head crushed by Fredbear, and so that place closes for good. Freddy Fazbear's reopens, this time with fun new toy animatronics. That's FNAF 2. Bill goes beast mode, kills 5 more kids. Grand opening, grand closing. Freddy's reopens again. The place is dirty as shit. Ratatouille health inspector shuts it down again. Grand opening, grand closing. William Afton breaks in, gets his ass haunted. He tries to hide in the old Springlock Bonnie's suit, gets crunched, and gets Fortunatoed into the wall. Somewhere in there, while all of that was happening, William also made a World War II prep bunker specifically for making semi-sentient murder bots. Because even blue-collar murderers aren't safe from the progress of industry. Anyways, William's other son, his name is Michael, finds the murder basement, gets his ass murdered, gets worn as a skin suit for a little bit by a bunch of robots. Robots eventually crawl out of his rotting corpse, which he's purple. He does not die, and now he's sad and smelly. Again, all of that's questionable as to when it happens. Anyways, Fazbear Frights. Remember William, cask of Amontillado over there? Yeah, they found his ass, and he's literally too angry to die. Michael tries to light him on fire, he still doesn't die. Then there's Pizzeria Simulator that ties up the loose ends. Everyone's here. Chuck E. Cheese, Ted Bundy, Baby, who I didn't mention, we're gonna glaze over that. My Name is Legion for We Are Many, aka Molten Freddy, aka the robots that wore Mike as a skin suit, and a haunted puppet wearing a bear suit. We're really gonna glaze over that one. The entire game is a trap, everyone's lit on fire and released. It's actually a really good ending for the series, so of course it keeps going. William Afton's consciousness gets downloaded into a VR game and he now has a one-person cult. Let's go! Pizzaplex, a giant Freddy Fazmall with brand new animatronics. All of the animatronics have personality disorders. This guy says Gregory a lot. Springtrap is alive, kind of, for like 4 seconds. If you get get that ending. There's like 6 of them. And then in the DLC, there's a mimic, which I guess you need to read the books for. And that's where I'm going to stop because I clearly have no idea what's going on at this point. Also, I got most of that info from this Reddit post because it's the best unbiased and unspeculative resource I could find for any of this. Now let's go step by step and outline why this series is probably the pinnacle of fucked up timelines. Step 1. Make something way more popular than you initially intended. Almost nobody had heard of Scott Cawthon until the first Five Nights at Freddy's released, and it absolutely exploded. The only reason he made it was because someone made fun of his animations in a previous game and said they looked creepy. Now it's a series with 15 games, 28 books, God knows how many toys. I own a fucking Funtime Freddy Funko Pop, and now a movie. Again, this all started from a dude who accidentally made an Uncanny Valley beaver. Step 2. Wildly make spin-offs and try to keep up. Again, there are now 15 total games, and 2 of those are Freddy in space. The original 4 games were all made within a year, with the first being released in August of 2014 and the 4th being released in July of 2015. This is how we got the Bite of 87 that was immediately made completely useless and overshadowed by the Bite of 83, which had never been mentioned before but became the plot of the 4th game. This is how we ended up with the Nightmare animatronics that were originally supposed to be actual nightmares, but now they might be made of a mix of like hallucinogenic gas and frequencies and shit. I know I keep bringing up the 4th game. It is just so narratively fucked in every way and does not serve the purpose it was originally supposed to, and that is incredibly funny. And then there's Fnaf World, which is like, how does this even exist, man? Not even to mention the books, and in one of them MatPat gets pregnant. This video was such a mistake. Step 3. Be way over cryptic with your storytelling. This is the only reason this series gets away with as much as it does. Because when things change, you can't definitively say that things have changed because everything is so cryptic. Again, all of FNAF 4. Who's this funny gold bear? How old are you? 10? Start solving Zodiac Killer puzzles to figure it out. Step 4. Add way too many characters. I'm gonna rip these straight from the FNAF wiki because this is ridiculous. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy. Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie, Withered Chica, Withered Foxy. Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Mangle, Balloon Boy, JJ, The Puppet, Shadow Wizard Money Gang, Phantom Freddy, Phantom Chica, Phantom Foxy, Phantom Mangle, Phantom Balloon Boy, Phantom Puppet, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, Nightmare Freddy, Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Foxy, Nightmare Fredbear, Just Nightmare, Plush Trap, Nightmare Balloon Boy, Nightmare Mangle, Nightmare Eon, Jacko Bonnie, Jacko Chica, Freddles, Dreadbear, Grim Foxy, Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy. This is terrible. I don't know why I did this to myself. Bitty Babs, Mini Renas, Bonbon, Lolbit, Electrobabs, Bonnet, Funtime Chica, fucking Music Man, Rockstar Freddy, Rockstar Bonnie, Rockstar Chica, Rockstar Foxy. Lefty is $5. The best characters in the series: Happy Frog, Mr. Hippo, Pig Patch, Ned Bear, and Orville the Elephant. I fucking love Orville. Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica, Montgomery Gator, Roxanne Wolf, Glamrock Bonnie, the Weird Moon Sun Guy, various endoskeletons, various Ennard variations, Springtrap, Scrap Trap, Burn Trap, fucking El Cheap. What does El Cheap do, Scott? You get the point. Way too many characters and variations of the same characters. It's perfect. Step 5. Have an absolute psychopath as the creative head. Step 6. Change shit up randomly because you wrote yourself into a corner or got bored. As you can probably tell, there are several points in this series where it was supposed to end, but someone forgot to turn off the money printer, so it kept going. Okay, at least for FNAF 4, there was like some plausible deniability, like maybe that was a fake out end. That does not exist for anything past Pizzeria Simulator. That was so supposed to be the end. Like, I like the ending to Pizzeria Simulator. I personally think it's a very good ending. Not like a, oh, you know, it's okay, it's an alright ending for this series. Like, it's really good. And then they do fucking somehow Palpatine returned, and they're gonna keep this shit up for a while. And that's exactly what we need. I have now bestowed upon you the useless knowledge and tools required for you to make a magnum opus with the explicit goal of ruining the life of a loving husband and father. Again, this was supposed to be a short filler video while I worked on something bigger, and has instead consumed my life for the last several weeks. I hold my oath fulfilled. I will now be at peace. Now subscribe and go watch this video about fan games or something.